As you would imagine, it's very easy to take one's mind into the proverbial gutter when trying to set the mood for South Carolina, given the mascot. So we avoid all that. You know, when they go low, we go high. So, South Carolina, mood tracker, what's the temperature of the fan base here? How would you feel, before I tell you what I think the mood is for South Carolina, how would you feel if everyone's doubting you and you won, 7 games the year before, and then they doubted you even more, and then you won 8 games, and you unfortunately lost to Notre Dame in a classic Gator Bowl, but oh well, we still won 8 games, right? And we beat Clemson? I'll tell you where I have the mood. And I did not go to the Big Spur today. I did not need a cheat sheet from you guys. I just wanted to guess your mood. You can tell me if I'm right or not. I've got the South Carolina mood as break the glass. So there's this thing that the general society will do to you, and there's a thing the college football public will do to you if you're a non-blue blood, non-tier 1 program, if you let them. And that is they will tell you where you belong. And they will try and place you where they think you belong. And most people think South Carolina belongs in the 6-win range. And so they'll talk to you in those terms. They'll predict your games. They'll predict your season in those terms. They'll give you coverage proportionate to those terms. And yet they've done it to you 2 years in a row, and you've overachieved 2 years in a row, which would lead me, if I were a South Carolina fan, to say, maybe, just maybe, I know more about my team and my program than those people do. Unfortunately, that could even include me. And if that were the case, whatever ceiling you're putting on me is obviously made of very breakable glass, so I'd just be in the mood to break the ceiling. Shane Beamer has, my head coach has, my team has. Why not me? 7 wins the year before when you didn't think we were going bowling? Check. 8 wins last year when you thought we may fall off from 7 wins? Check. What about this year? Now, it's hard to just keep going up and up and up, immunity, but it's not just games they've won. It's which ones they've won. They beat Clemson last year at Clemson. They skull-drugged Tennessee. They splattered Tennessee. Alabama wishes they could say that. LSU wishes they could say that. They can't. South Carolina can. One of the most out-of-nowhere results in the country last year. And then they follow it up on the road. And they beat Clemson. Those are huge wins. Absolutely huge wins. And recruiting is definitely trending in the right direction. Remember when it was Shane Beamer's first cycle and they finished 80th or something like that? And everyone said he's in over his head. And then they finished 24th. And then they finished 16th. So there's basically no result-based category where you can show me a number and I don't see this obvious trend up line. But then we start to realize, okay, once people start to realize, I just said realize like 5 times, but once people start to realize, oh, you're capable of things, what do? Sometimes they do it during the season. They definitely would do it out of season. They recalibrate their expectations. And let me tell you, that's going to happen en masse with South Carolina. This is why you need to pay no attention ever to what outsiders say. Watch the show, by all means. But I'm saying don't ever let your mood be impacted by these people. They don't know. And so here's what it's going to sound like. Let's say Casual Carl is over here. Casual Carl watches Shane Beamer get hired, and he says, Beamer sucks. He's never going to amount to anything. Picks him to go 4-8. They win 7 games. Casual Carl says it's a fluke. Casual Carl says this team's going to fall off. They're a paper tiger. They win 8 games. Casual Carl then for the 3rd year will say he better win 9 games. You better keep going up. That's not going to win the East. 8 games is not going to win the East. That's got to be better than that. You're recruiting top 10, top 15. You better do better than that. That's how Casual Carl is going to sound. Now, what Casual Carl will never do is say, I was wrong about South Carolina, wasn't I? That's not in Casual Carl's DNA. In fact, I'm not going to make that joke. We're live. You don't know how much discipline I just exerted there in avoiding a tasteless joke. The last thing we want to be in life is classless. If I learned anything from the Women's National Championship game today, last thing we want to be is classless. The most overused term in sports, classless. It's so overused, I can use the next most overused term, and it's not even close, to describe how wide the gap is between how frequently classless is used and then how many times, and it's not even close, is used. If you didn't watch the game today, none of that means anything to you. So, South Carolina, my mood would certainly be, yeah, I want to win every game we play. But I also understand there's this parallel lane with our football program right now where no matter how much we've overachieved, there's a certain portion of the college football public that thinks any success South Carolina is having is temporary. It's a sugar high. It's the Red Bull effect. And they will fall off. And it doesn't matter how wrong they've been. They'll just continue to predict your demise. And if you ever finally fall off, whether it's year 3 or year 10, they'll say, I told you so. Blind squirrel, broken clock, you get the deal. So don't worry about it, is my A piece of advice. And my B piece of advice is consider it a privilege when they put that ceiling on top of you. Because you see, no matter how low or high the ceiling they put on top of you is, you've always got enough power to break it. What, a preview magazine has no weight? People who talk in microphones for a living, they don't actually wield any power over you unless you let them. So sure, they're going to try and place you. Don't let them. South Carolina probably doesn't need my advice on that because they've done a really good job of already ignoring it.